Hey guys, we're Crownlands, and today we're breaking down some of our favorite bits about Apocalypse. Taking over our destiny and the production of Apocalypse was really exciting for us. The first time we did that was on Ritual 2, and it was recorded, written, produced, mixed in this very room right here.
Yeah, just on that couch, right over there.
On that couch. Call
great.
it the Crownlands casting couch. But basically, that was the first time that we had to do everything ourselves from front to back, and that was simply because we had zero budget.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
What was the budget? Like $20?
No, it was more like
35.
like maybe 1,000. But like
Yeah,
the most money we
$1,000
ended up
yeah.
spending on it was for
master.
drums and the masters, of course, but for like also for drums with Graham Shaw. He has all these cool African percussion pieces that we had to kind of have included because some of them were from the first Ritual, and so it's kind of in the same world.
Like the log drum was the biggest
log
thing,
drum
right?
is the star for sure, and then like the junjuns as well. There's like this big thunderous junjun that he has that we couldn't possibly fit in our studio, so we had to go.
Called it the giant fucking drum.
Yeah.
It's actually there's like in our Logic session, because this was before we were using Pro Tools. It's just like GFD, and I think we actually ended up using samples of the giant fucking drum in Apocalypse on Proclamation for those big
Totally
the big kick drums for the opening of Proclamation. We ended up layering a sample of the GFD, so there's a little bit of Ritual in Apocalypse.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool.
But yeah, we made like the whole record of Ritual 2 on this couch, and then from there, when we did Apocalypse, we did some of it with Nick Raskulinix.
Down in Nashville.
Love it there. But like he was too busy at the end of the day. He's just a big cool guy, so we had to do the rest ourselves, and he was cool enough to kind of let us do that. And we worked as well with David Bottrill on a couple tunes. We co-wrote them together,
mostly on the top line, right?
Yeah, mostly on the top line. Yeah,
Bottrill's a genius when it comes down to pulling our collective heads out of our collective asses.
Oh my gosh.
When it comes down to vocal melodies. And one of the biggest things I think we took away from working on, we worked on White Buffalo with Dave, we worked on Fearless with Dave, we worked on a big chunk of Apocalypse with him, and biggest thing was where Cody was coming in on those melodies, right?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, like when I started drumming and singing, I developed this tendency, without thinking about it, to come in right after the downbeat, because you hit the crash on the down. Sometimes, in prog, it's anywhere really you want, but traditionally
you're hitting
it's on the downbeat.
Yeah.
But I would instinctively start singing on the and, or I would put it a beat
that
after,
breath,
or and I would just take that quarter rest breath and then sing. And he would always catch that. He was the only person to catch that. Like when we were working with, we worked with Dave Cobb, and we did some stuff with him, and he never really caught that. But Dave, in his meticulousness, which was why I love him so much, he's like, dude, I notice you do this a lot. Like, do you mean to? I'm like, oh shit, I don't. Like, this is crazy. And so ever since then, it's kind of ingrained to start on the downbeat and not after the downbeat. Something so simple, but when you're singing and drumming, it can be something you overlook.
Totally, yeah. And I think you can hear that mostly on Blackstar, which I think Dave had the biggest sonic footprint on for the entire record, which just came out today, actually. Which is
it did.
Very exciting.
I know.
And we had that music for, I think, the longest time of any of the songs on this record. Mm-hmm. That riff came out, like I remember coming up with that riff the day I got my Space Echo back for the first time. Wow. And I just put it on, I think it was head number 3.
Yeah.
So it gives me just like a dotted eighth around 120 odd BPM, and that was the first riff that came out at our old jam space.
I remember that.
And I remember recording it, and then you came in. And I was like, dude.
Yeah.
And so we had that main intro riff and the verse riff for I think it was
Years, man.
yeah, like
Years.
6-7 years or something.
Wow,
But we
6-7 years.
just never had any home for it. And
Yeah.
then a couple of years ago, I did a new demo of it, and Cody challenged me. He was like, "Dude, you need a chorus for this song." Like, because I always thought that riff would just be the chorus kind of like an Iron Maiden type deal.
Yeah.
I was like, you need to write something else. And so I was listening to pretty much nothing except for Ghost at the time.
Not a bad choice.
And we really wanted that like big arena rock kind of chorus. And so I busted that out and I sent that to you. And then I think it was the first time I've sent something to you and you were actually stoked on it from the first listen.
I don't think that's true, but I think like when you sent over that riff and you would send it over and you'd be like, "Hey, this riff, remember this one?" I'd be like, maybe not." And then you sent it over with this new riff. I was like, "Dude, this is a song. Here we go. Let's take it from here."
Totally.
Which is cool. I know the only thing we kind of knew from the onset when we wrote that was that it would take place within the Fearless chronology somewhere, and we just kind of squirreled that away. Yeah. But I think David Bottrill had a really cool hand in helping you with some harmonic elements on that track.
Totally, right? Yeah. Like the chorus, the second chorus where it goes from the F major to an E major, which is really interesting to be doing that in the key of D minor, right? It really grabs your ear and it's like, oh, what's going on here? Because there's G sharp happening. Dave pushed for that because I was just going from the F to a G minor, right? So. And Dave was like, just go to an E. And it's really interesting because like going to that F major to an E major, it really makes it feel kind of like a Farewell to Kings by Rush. And Dave is the first guy to tell us to stop leaning into the Rush side of things. And I thought it was really cool when he kind of like helped us lean into it because that's just who we are. And
he'd give it like a cheesy grin and you would know like you're treading close.
Yep. Yeah. But then it was a big part was the chorus where we couldn't really figure out what to do with the lyrics and it was Dave's idea to have like that big arena rock Blackstar to kind of tag.
Yeah, because I would come in on Blackstar. Yeah. And so we had that, but he's like, "Dude, like we need something here on the down." And it was just a great thing. We didn't do that since like Leadfoot, pretty sure. We didn't do like some gang vocal kind of thing like that since Leadfoot. But here I think it works a lot better.
Totally, yeah, because it really feels like big space arena rock rally of evil colonizing space demons, you know, what's not to love?
Exactly.
When we sit down to write a song, I'm definitely a lot more conscious than Cody is over length, and a lot of time, like I'll kind of go in with like a lot more of a preconceived vision for where I see the length. Because before we even start writing a song, the gears are turning in my head about what's going to be on side one, what's going to be on side two.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to think about that flow, and I'm kind of looking at like this aerial vision of the entire record and the storyline, and Cody tries to push that as far to the finish line as possible, and then everything ends up being a compromise between the two.
Yeah, well, I would say I put the storyline more to the forefront. I think from the onset we knew we wanted to tell a story of Apocalypse and the Syndicate and like a prequel to Fearless in the chronology. And I didn't really care too much how long the songs were as much as Kevin did. I was just like, as long as it's good, you know, it doesn't need to be, 25 minutes. It could be 15 minutes if it sounds really cool and it gets the point across. But like, I think when we make these songs, when we make a long song, we're intentionally making it long for one reason or another, and to reach one, one high water mark that we've never reached before or not, whether it's a 20-minute mark or a 19-minute mark in this case. I feel like that when we do something like that, we almost reactionarily like make something shorter, like Through the Looking Glass, because you can't just all have long songs. Like we could, but I feel like for this record, we wanted to still tread the line between kind of that more accessible, shorter side and the really long conceptual pieces. But for the first time, other than Ritual, I suppose, in retrospect. It's a concept the whole way through.
Yeah, like the long songs, our manager Ollie always calls them like riff soups or riff salads.
Yeah.
Because that's often how they come. Is like any song usually comes from the music first, and then the lyrics often come after. And what the music feels like it tells a certain story. It makes our lives a lot easier when we're coming up with the words to go with it. But
Yeah.
The short songs and long songs often come in a similar way, where it's just jamming and waiting for those big fun riffs that show up. But the long songs definitely do usually have the more complicated riffs.
Yeah.
And the sillier the riff is, the more likely it is to just be a chapter in a song. Because I know we had the music for the Asteroid Belt, and we kept deliberating on that being its own little instrumental song, and because I think we were trying to push ourselves to write another instrumental piece, and that one kind of kept showing up until we were at the halfway mark for Apocalypse, and we're like, where do we go from here? And I was like,
this kind of fits.
It fits, yeah. and then it just kind of it just ended up being there, and it flowed so perfectly.
And it told a story, which is really cool, because like that's the thing.
It sounds like
we're really imaginative. So like when we make music and it's just the music, we're imagining, okay, so this is the theme. What does this sound like? This sounds like X, Y, Z, and we talk about it, we spitball it, we go back and forth, and we kind of decide, okay, this is what it is. This is really cool. This is like a battle in space, for example, with the Asteroid Belt. They're fighting over something. What's happening? And it you kind of see this movie in your head, and then you try to capture it with words.
Yeah.